What you doing, Gracie Grace? What you doing, Gracie Gracie Grace? What you doing? What you doing, baby? Mm-mm. Uh-oh. Oh, Gracie Grace. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Peter. Do you want to do Zoom? I just sent one to you.
I did send you a Zoom link. I think,
Oh, you did. I didn't see it. Okay.
oh,
It just
you didn't check email in the last 45 seconds?
actually, I no 25 seconds. There it is. Okay. I got it. Check 15 seconds ago.
Ah,
Decent.
okay. Ah, oh, wow.
Hey, Peter, it's been a long time.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Stranger to my eyes.
That was fabulous. That was so good. I think you blew everybody away. They don't know what to make of it, but it
Good.
was really good.
I really enjoy communicating and teaching and sharing. And yeah, I used to not do any public speaking, forget about it. Now it's like, oh boy, I get to do this.
No, and you're really good at it. You're really good at teaching. You're
Oh,
really good at listening and responding, thoughtfully answering without preaching. It's really good.
excellent. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, no, I think that's a skill that Chat GPT can't quite master yet.
Uh,
Responding in the moment to the emotional underpinnings and what's behind the question, which leads us to our family, of course.
yeah, I've got a notepad up ready to start jotting down thoughts. I think I might have jotted down some thoughts earlier, but I didn't have too many of them, so not missing much. Okay. So,
Well, why don't we start with what we know about the family from Rhonda? Now, I didn't get any printouts from Otter from that one. Um, I just have my own notes, which are all scrambly and trying to make sense out of them.
oh,
So
I wonder if I had any.
I don't know because it was her meeting, so I don't know.
It could have dialed into it, but I think I need the date or something to,
August 5th.
that's an auspicious day.
Yeah.
Somebody got older that day.
You had a birthday on the 5th and I missed it. Oh my God. Okay. I won't from here on out.
You're so kind. Okay, August 5th. In our weekly meeting, which is the only one I have for August 5th, says forgetting things, birthdays, and exercise.
Ah,
So I don't have the recording with her, so we're starting from scratch here.
I think that's fine because we'll exchange what we got, probably each got something different. And then I think the important thing, because I have to stop at 3, no later. Um,
Oh, I don't even know if I can go that long. I have another meeting
okay.
at 4. Anyway,
Okay.
so whatever it takes. I'm willing to stick around that long.
So let's do 5 minutes of just what do we know about this family that's bringing them to the table?
Who they are is pretty highly developed and highly functional and well related and connected. And this is like an emergent issue. It's always been there, and probably the older brother initially had some thoughts about how it would impact everybody, but went ahead with what he thought was best. And and there was a little seed planted that was sprouting where nobody was looking. So it's kind of an emergent thing. So I guess one thing we could point out is, hey, you guys are really good at talking things out, and you built it into your routine. So we're really optimistic, that this is something that may be a little extra learning, but you can't make a great building out of rotten wood, right? So they are the mahogany of families. More hug, more hug of me. Anyway, too silly.
No,
Um,
it's funny. That's cute. Yeah, my sense of them was this 84-year-old. And is he the one, the Nielsen we're going to be talking to, the 84-year-old that's retiring?
I don't know who is going to be on this call.
Rhonda said, I assumed it was one representative from each of the factions, so to speak.
Okay.
So
That's
what she said was, so hold on, let me get my calendar right here. Okay, so let me see. Get the right week, that would help. Interview. All right. It's Mark and Kathy are the two. Mark Nielsen, I think, was one. I can check that. And Kathy, I didn't write down her last name, but I certainly will. So I'm thinking Mark is the older generation guy. And they're going to be the ones, each one of them asking us questions from their point of view. I think you and I have from Rhonda, the basic, um, we know the conflict. I mean, I'm kind of making assumptions, but it sounds like this older guy who's become the scapegoat, the 84-year-old that's retiring, is going to be the one he's done everything out of a patriarchal and best intentions kind of thing for the family, made decisions. But the younger generation, who's a little more savvy, knows a little more about what you can do and what you can't do, sees it differently. And those things have percolated under the surface now for quite some time. With, I think Rhonda pointed out, the younger generation feeling totally dissed and probably talking amongst themselves to reinforce this. Can you believe what he's doing? Do you know what he said about us? He's not even asking. He doesn't even care. He's doing the stupidest things. I mean, you can kind of fill it in. So that's what I imagine. And I think that he's probably like, they don't understand. Here's the reason. Here's why I'm doing this. This benefits them, maybe not immediately, but over time, whatever's going through their minds, they don't have any way to get to that. They've dug in their heels.
I'm thinking that as the financial, she's tracked down all of the things that happened, but I'm wondering if he hadn't done that, if the whole family might not be poorer in the end, because if he shored up one business, maybe it's somehow accruing back to the family. So it
Yeah,
might be an
ultimately,
avenue to
I
ask.
got lost in all the, I mean, there are so many trusts and so many, there's two major, I guess, two major organizations, if you will, businesses.
Uh-huh.
And let's see. Yeah, two limited partnerships. There's a Nielsen family partnership, and then one of the people we're talking to is a Nielsen. So that's, I think, the more, and under that, there are four trusts. It goes 5 generations under this partnership. They're the ones that have 85 acres in Silicon Valley. And the father created this generational skipping trust. So I guess the father who bought up all this land uh, created this trust, and then there was a death on the family of a child,
Hmm.
2 early deaths, and then I guess I think a mother died early, but not in young childhood, but early. Um, that
And
means a lot. I won't go into all of that, but
that child had children, so
yeah. So the range in age for the original generation, the sons and daughters are 70 to 84, 2 brothers, 2 sisters, each has their own trust. And there's a fifth trust for children of the deceased. So they didn't have any voice at all until last year, she said. And they're very disgruntled that they've had no voice.
hmm.
And you can imagine this older generation doesn't have a lot of skills in communication. Kind of do it as I say. We got the experience, we have the authority. Here's how you do it. So that's what I got on the essence.
Well, I think that's a ripe or a rich question to look into, this sort of general complaint about we haven't been included, we haven't had a say. If we could look at what's behind that, what in particular they're thinking, because it's kind of general.
Yes, exactly. We don't know exactly what their assumptions are, what the bias is. Um, I'm trying to find Rhonda's message that tells us the names. I was going to go back and get that.
I'm
Uh,
sorry I didn't prepare more, but I was preparing for some weird
you
presentation.
had your hands full and you had a weekend full. My gosh, I don't even know how you did it, Peter. You must be exhausted. Huh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I drove back from Big Sur yesterday and yeah, all that stuff.
And of course, I'm dying to hear about Big Sur, but we'll be focused here because we're each needing a time thing. I think if we have kind of in the back of our minds the conflict, we don't have all the details yet. We know that a lot of this went off during the 2008-9 recession.
Mhm.
Um, and everybody got kind of scared and they started looking out for themselves and things kind of shifted. And it sounds like at that point, they may each have been saying, oh boy, what's he doing? How's it going to put me at risk? And they stopped looking at the big picture of us as a family. So we got quite a bit from Rhonda. She was excellent, really amazing. I find her quite amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to have drinks, I guess, with Kurt Weil this afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Oh boy.
Um, I had other reasons to reach out to him, but if we have any, if there's anything that we want to know about Rhonda via Kurt, I'd like to be aware of it as I meet with him.
Okay,
I don't know that.
yeah.
I mean, we got a pretty good sense of who she was.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about our structure, because that's going to be our most vulnerable place. We're both really good at what we do, got a good sense of it. I think tomorrow will just be having them ask questions, getting clarity, and our being able to say, here's how we do it.
Well,
So,
I had an immediate thought about that because mental health role is the one who sets the agenda and the plan. So we could say that that's going to be your job primarily. And my role is as a financial neutral and as a champion of the younger generation, because that's where my original impetus was, that we were neglected as kids. And
okay, I'm going to caution you right there. You're neutral. You can't be a champion.
oh, okay.
You've got to be totally neutral. You've got to be as connected to each one of their concerns. See, you're going to know the structure, a lot of the financial questions to ask. I don't know. That's not my bailiwick. That's why we're a team.
Okay. I think I'm going to be able to get most of those answers from Rhonda, actually. But I guess I'd be curious about how did what was the first inkling that there was some disagreement? How did that show up? What was it about that caused the initial concern? And what have they learned, or how does it appear to them now? And what I can say in the past, when I've laid out the big picture to families, uh, it helps with the understanding, and they generally find a lot of reassurance in being included, for example, and having the full disclosure about where things are and what's possible.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. Just being curious, finding out. I'll try and set the stage a little bit with a general question I often ask is if we could facilitate a productive conversation between all of the family members who want to participate, what would they be hoping for? What would they hope would happen, or what would evolve from that conversation? So I go first to their hopes. Then I back into concerns, and that's where you might come in.
Yeah, it's good to set that context of hopes that guides the
Mhm.
thinking on that.
If they're going to ask, what do we do? Our structure is the one we do adapt it to each family, but basically you and I meet with each one separately. Now, the question is, often in cases I meet with them separately than you do, it may be more efficient since we're in a time constraint. If it's possible for us to meet with them together for that first meeting. Because we're asking different questions. The other alternative is I can meet with them singly, and then you and I could meet and I could share. But all these things are probably more emotional in a way than they are real financial.
Well, there's Kurt calling me, but
Oh, shoot.
that's
Are you supposed to meet with him?
at
Go ahead.
4 o'clock.
Take the call. Go ahead and take it. Find the email I'm looking for.
Hey, Kurt.
Hey, Peter, I see with pleasure that we're getting together today. I just wondered if you have a good idea where we can go have good cup of
Ah, coffee's easier than drinks. Where would there
coffee.
is a s-
Okay with drinks as well, but I'll give you a choice.
yeah, I'm not a big drinker, but either one is good. And
Well,
we have a Starbucks and we also have the Los Altos Grill or whatever they call it these days.
well, maybe do something other than
Okay.
a lot of real life.
It's an upscale restaurant and has a couple of outdoor tables. It's noisy on the inside and it's kind of cool today. So
Okay. Well, I'm certainly happy to wear a jacket. That's
yeah, yeah. They do have a couple of outdoor tables there. I think it's called Los Altos Grill. Let me verify that.
just look it up.
Okay, good.
Place at cetera. Right there on the street.
Yeah,
Okay, well, see you there at 4 o'clock.
perfect. And if they're not open yet, we'll sit there and grab a coffee. Yep.
All right, see you then.
Okay, thanks a lot, Kurt.
You bet.
Bye. Okay.
Yeah, I can't. So let's you and I review what my concept is, and then knowing we may have to make adaptations. Either
Okay.
one or both of us meets with each family member separately. The goal of that, our purpose is, first of all, to really get to know them. What are their concerns? Separately, they're more likely to share.
Mhm.
So we, out of that, we really develop common goals they may have, but we also address each one of their separate goals by, creating topics that we're going to address in the meeting. So that comes out of the individual meetings. And the individual meetings really are to build trust as well, so that they can get to know us, get to know our style, and we can respect their style and what's important to them.
Mhm.
So after that, the team meets. Rhonda's on the team, and that's really crucial. She will not be engaging in the conflict or differences in this case. Maybe we don't want to label it even conflict yet. I'm not sure. But that's your job and my job. We're going to be facilitating, co-mediating, if you will, their discussions so that everybody gets heard and everybody understands the other person. So I believe that once we've met everybody, Rhonda, you and I would meet as a team. And I want to emphasize respect for Rhonda and her relationship and what she knows is going to be invaluable because she's going to be really representing the family as an entirety and their goals. She doesn't change. Her role stays the same. You and I, however, are going to be wading in and trying to figure out how can they reach those goals. The early aspirations and the newer things that have come to light in their experience with each other and the financial realities of today's world.
Also, I think I would like a separate meeting with Rhonda to get filled in on all the facts about how much money was borrowed and was any paid back and uh, what those generation skipping trusts look like, just so I have the history of the financial part of it. And I
Right.
wonder if we also might ask when we meet with the individuals, not only what would they like to see about this conflict, but what is the value of family to them, or what so they build their own context of keeping the family in mind as a healthy entity while
Yes.
they're at the same time. And I'm sure they're smart enough to hold two different worlds in their mind at the same time.
Oh, yeah. It's a very sophisticated family.
Hmm.
And certainly, yeah.
Oh,
I
we'd ask them what, maybe I said this, but ask them what they want, individually out of this, but ask them what they want for the family
yes.
as sort of a general principle or outcome, like maybe more time together, or, I don't know my cousins that well, or I want to understand money better. I don't know what it might be.
Yeah, we would be finding out what exactly. I think that's a really good thing. That in our interviews, we're not only about the individual and what they want, but what are their concerns, hopes, and dreams for the future about the family. So the purpose of the individual meeting is we get to know the person, we get to find out, what their own individual experience is. What do we share? We share really information that's relevant. We can't, ethically, we're not going to keep things from other people. That doesn't mean we share everything. If somebody wants to spout off because they're really angry and really upset, that's fine. We don't need to go back and share all that because that's confidential. But if they share something financial that has bearing, or a
Mhm.
decision they want to make around the finances, any information mute that affects the other family members directly in this process, absolutely we would be sharing. So emotional, kind of trusting you to, I can't stand my sister Sally kind of thing, fine. We'll take it in. It's information. It helps us. It doesn't need to be shared with Sally.
I'm pretty sure that you do this, but just like they separated their own personal interests from family interests and desires, if we could ask them, what would you like in terms of the facts and the actual actions, that you imagine might be ideal? And then separately, what are your feelings about it? If they could separate those two out so that we can address them more cleanly,
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. You're right. And everybody's facts have feelings behind them, and they're all going to be different facts, right? So even that's interesting.
Well, not just when I referred to facts here, I wasn't thinking about the past, but I was thinking about the solutions that they'd like to see, but also how they feel about what's happened. And if they don't understand, if they have any questions about what happened too, maybe they have some, I missed act 3 of the 5 acts of the play. Um, I don't know what I'm missing, maybe
Yeah.
help them fill in gaps because our minds will do it for us if we don't do it.
And all we're doing really in the first interview is getting their perspective. We're not, they'll all help fill the gaps. That's their job too. When we meet as a family, when we meet all together. And then we need to talk about that. So whether we meet with them one-on-one, you and I together, whether we meet with them one-on-one separately, usually depends on the needs of the family and the time constraints. And I think on this one, she said October 18th to start. I mean, that means we have to interview 8 people between now and October 18th. So I don't think it makes sense to have 2 separate interviews.
Yeah.
And as we interview and get the story, we need time for a team meeting with Rhonda where we discuss both what we've got. And in the meantime, what we're doing is we're saying, okay, here are the common goals you all share, every single one of you. weighed in on these, maybe 3 or 4 of these common goals, maybe 1 or 2, maybe a mission statement, I'm not sure. But we get we put together those common goals. And then you and Rhonda and I meet and we talk about, okay, here are the separate ones, here are the concerns, here's where people went aground, what topics, then what seems most useful to the family. We'll start with the goals, what do they share? And have a discussion about, okay, what are your hopes? We can do this today. What would you like resolved? What would matter? Get the input. The second piece is, what are your concerns? What's kind of stopping you? And then we're picking the individual topics that we got from our meetings. So maybe the way the 2008, 2009 issue was handled is still rankling for some.
I don't know if you do this, but we have certain facts we see, and then we have stories. And I guess asking in the individual interviews, what do you believe about that? Do you think that was unscrupulous, underhanded, sneaky, self-serving? What do you think your brother was out to do? And I don't know if we'd adjust that separately, but it's kind of the ghost in the room for each person.
Yeah. I always start with an open question rather than telling them what nefarious things or whatever. I say,
Oh,
what are your concerns about what happened? What do you think was behind his motive?
perfect. Yeah.
Because otherwise they'll think we're trying to, and they'll go to the negative because we provided them with that, but it could be more complex if we step back and say, what do you think? We might get both. We might get more of well, I think he was trying to be well-intentioned, but kind of thing.
Uh-huh. I
With
just
that.
think airing those out and bringing them into the light.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Uh,
that's the crux of what's going to help. Yeah.
you know, I'm stepping on your territory, but it's of great interest.
Yes. I love it when you step on my territory. I don't have a territory. Emotions are all for everybody. So yeah,
There's enough for everybody to go around.
there's enough for everybody on this one. Yep.
Yeah.
So
We
we
get-
meet so we can describe after individual, Rhonda and you and I would meet. And we'd try and put we would put their whole picture together with both the common goals and the individual concerns as topics that we need to go deeper. And then we would have a full family meeting. Where would we have that? They can't meet here in my office here.
Coast to go on, nature places, Esalen, I don't know. Game on, Peter. That's for a later thing.
Your family meeting is one idea. Yeah.
But we can, in the three-way meeting, we can make sure that nothing is left out. And, if I have sort of an impression of something, you two could chime in on it and, oh yeah, that fits, or I know that's not true, especially for Rhonda's contribution. And then if we really intelligently lay it out, like in a really easy to digest form, the first flip chart is, here's what you guys have in common.
Yeah.
And here's some things, that people have expressed would like to clean up. And it can be solved multiple ways. It could be transfer of money. It could be a family governance tweak of some kind, how decisions are made in the future. And of course, transparency and inclusion are foundational to trust, I think. So,
Well, I'm hoping they'll be able to have ideas in real time by listening to each other.
mm,
The real crux of this is, can they speak from their own eye position themselves and say, well, okay, let's say one of the topics is decision-making regarding X, whatever the family business is, the partnership. This partnership's not doing very well. This one's doing well. We think it's because this. So topic is each one of how partnership A is being handled. We don't have to ascribe it to anybody. It's just come up in several of our individual meetings. So it's a topic that needs to be discussed. And by discussing it, understanding more, because invariably these people talk defensively like we all do. They get, what do you mean you're blaming me for this? That wasn't my fault, and off they go. So they don't know probably, although they sounds like they've had a fair amount of sophisticated advice, but I don't know how much real communications, in-depth communications they've had.
How about including that step that always impresses me, the ground rules for the meeting with the family, that we have something that helps build that trust and the ability to speak up, right from the start. And I'm sure you're really good at that.
Yep. And I like to have them build the ground rules. I'll give them a couple of basics.
Mhm.
But the handing out that we often do in collaborative, like listen respectfully, that doesn't mean anything to them. So, what's going to help get you guys through this? What's important for you to adhere to? So maybe that first meeting, they decide what their ground rules are going to be.
Mhm.
Because they know their family. They know if somebody's going to shut down or walk out or
Oh, yeah.
stop sharing or whatever. They know that.
Yep.
And then finding out, okay, how do you want to handle that? Here's my idea. Peter has an idea. We throw it in the hopper, we come up with something. So you're saying, Peter, too, on the family meeting when everybody's together, we could almost have it anywhere that's convenient. Do they have any suggestions? There's a place where we had our retreat, which is kind of campy and
Mhm.
stick and send in for food, and we could do that. That's not elegant, but I have a feeling these people eschew a lot of elegance. I have a feeling they've had enough wealth in the family and plenty of, they can take these elaborate vacations. But for this one, they may just want to come in their shirt sleeves and sit down and be able to talk in a circle. I don't know.
Yeah, we have lots of options, and through the family nature retreats preparations we've done, we've got maybe 25 in a spreadsheet.
Okay.
Places, a lot of them are local, some are not. But yeah, ask them or give them three possible choices if they're sort of at a loss. One would be the Foothills Park, and Costanoa is kind of easy to fall into, and it's a lovely environment that's very relaxed. I think probably being in a neutral place and a place that invites quiet mind, it has some beauty to it, whatever that would be, and Costanoa would fit it. And the Foothill doesn't have accommodations for sleeping, but if they needed a place, Palo Alto's close by. Another place that we've met and enjoyed, and we had a building to meet inside of, was Hidden Villa. They've got a
All
building.
right. Yeah. Good.
I could maybe have some photos of the different places to just send them along with a map and a link or something. If they want suggestions.
Yeah, if they don't have anything in mind already, they may, so we'll see. The main thing is we'll talk about what needs to happen at that first meeting. They're going to be talking about common goals, what they hope to accomplish. We're going to go over those. We're going to have some discussion around, how much energy would anyone want to add to those? Because that's where we're bringing the family together in a common purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really looking at creating a family mission and having everybody on board with we're together to resolve these issues in a respectful way or whatever. So we're really creating and helping them define their needs, what they want, what's important to them.
They probably have some kind of a mission. In fact, I think I recall something.
They do. So we'll be
But
incorporating their mission statement.
does it need to be modified or expanded in some way?
Yeah.
Because everything's a
Yeah.
living document, so to speak.
Yeah. Is it still their guiding light? Is it something they now think may need to be added to or have some objectives under it? Whatever.
Or what questions have
Yeah.
come up that don't have answers in their family structure already? Like at what age do people start to get practice with money, like little bits to give away to philanthropy or something?
Mhm.
At what age, are they brought into the whole and having an understanding of that for the future? And how are they sort of gradually mentored and included and inculcated into the family values?
And that inclusion and mentoring might be one of the outcomes because that sounds like that's been missing. They
And
have they have their every year family retreat, I think Rhonda said, and those go well, they're on the surface. But how equipped are they? And I don't find many who are to know what are the tools to get below the surface in a safe way.
which is at the crux of what we're doing. Not that it's anything to do with this particular family, but that's our goal with family nature retreats, is building that interpersonal neurobiology
Yeah.
so it's resilient and regenerative.
Yeah. Absolutely. You want to take what they've got and the wisdom they're creating in these meetings to pass on. What
One
is
of
their legacy? That's the question.
one of the most powerful processes I've been involved with is what we call the warm seat, or the king's chair in men's work, where each man gets up in front of the others and people just call out qualities they see in them, good qualities like courageous, uh, gentle, kind, and somebody's taking notes each time. And you get this little stack of cards, call it the Valentine process too. It's like, okay, this was for Jack and this is for Don over here. And you take your little stack of cards home and you go, this I'm keeping.
Well,
There's
I
something
think that's
about
important. Yeah.
honoring each other, or it's a way of knowing that you're being seen, and maybe even seeing, like you pointed out, hey, I take into account people's emotions in my answers. Really? I did. Oh, yeah, I guess I did. It's kind of who I am. Well, so it can be a learning process, but first and foremost in the family goals, why is family important, and talk about their alignment and their vision and their hopes, and then can do it on that individual level, which is fun.
Absolutely. So we need to tell them that after each full team meeting, which is you, Rhonda, and myself, and they can have, you know, if they, at some point, somebody thinks it would be really helpful to have one of our trust lawyers sit in. Not necessarily to participate, maybe to give information, but not, again, not facilitating, not a part of facilitating the dynamic. That's for you and me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's open for any other in-depth person that they want involved. That person would also have to sign confidentiality agreement and a team participation agreement. What does that mean? Open, regular connections, conversation.
I think I know someone who would be very good at this. She's not an attorney though, but she's facilitated probably hundreds of ultra high net worth family conversations. And she brings the female touch to it. And God, she's smart. I just feel like, oh geez. I feel like I'm under less than.
That would never be. You're just comparing her outsides with your insides.
I, 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 I think there's some shyness here playing a role, uh, but she's probably really good at governance kinds of conversations. Maybe that's what we need, but maybe we need somebody who could suggest within the legal framework that they have something they could do or something that they could modify.
Or somebody who would benefit from seeing the family together. If they have their own trust lawyer, for example, which they do. There are 5 trusts, so maybe it would be good for the lawyers to listen. I don't know. We'll see. We don't need the facilitator unless, you know, we don't want too many facilitators. That's our job.
Yeah, no, not as a facilitator, but as a person who is aware of a lot of situations and different types of conversations that come up and may, automatically see some of the solutions and things like that, but I
Absolutely.
don't want to make it too top heavy. Um,
And we'll see if we need that. This is more or less is what I'm thinking, either comes out of the conversation and they say, we need more information. Can they just get the information, or would it be helpful to have that particular professional be involved?
uh,
Just like in collaborative divorce, sometimes we want a business evaluator.
mhm.
Sometimes in elder law, we want someone who's going to do, let's say, a psychological evaluation to see if the person is competent and can, or maybe the areas where they need help and support so that they can have a support person come in so that they can actively participate. To whatever moves the process along as we see it, the family would be the ultimate agree on it.
And I was thinking maybe a real estate kind of a person too, like what's
Yeah.
common practice and what are the consequences if you do it this way or that way.
Yeah,
So at any point, it sounds like whether we're meeting with them individually or as a group, it may become apparent that we could benefit from some kind of expertise.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that might be, but we're keeping an eye out for it.
absolutely.
How about record keeping and notes and things like that? Because if you're actively involved in facilitating and being present, it's hard to take, comprehensive notes.
Well, we'd have to see if they would agree on, say, something like Otter.
I've used Otter on my iPad. It picks up what's in the room and
Yeah, I've had conversations in the room with my AI companion and Otter. All of a sudden, we're getting that, and Nancy wants to go pick up the cleaning today at 4 o'clock. Well, that was
but
right
at
topic.
least at least you have something to work off of.
Yeah,
even
right.
has errors. Well, there's that.
I think too, Peter, if they ask about our separate roles, which is important to say, I'm trained to look at the world through different eyes than you are. I don't see facts as having the same impact or the same potential opportunities that you might, not being a financial. I'm going to see it through the emotional lens. What's creating the issue? How is that person not understanding? What needs to happen to create understanding? You're going to say, wait a minute, there's some basic things here, or some things in the financial realm that we need to feed in here. Or your mediator role is going to be looking at, because I think we need to stress we're both mediators.
Mhm.
You have strong mediation training.
One of my highest values is understanding. So bringing information in a neutral way that everybody can grasp is really important to me, making sure everybody has the picture as completely as they can.
Right. And you also come from a very pragmatic standpoint.
Mhm.
Being a financial, I just think that's the different lens in a way. You look at things and see, given these things, here are some possibilities.
Yeah.
And I'm not thinking that way. I'm thinking, where are the emotional stuck points? Where are they not hearing each other? There's huge overlap in what we do, which is good because we're going to be reinforcing each other as well. It's another power of the role, having a team. And with Rhonda, we're going to get history and a different perspective.
What
So,
I bring, she
yeah.
doesn't, even though she's a financial, is the appearance of non-partiality. They might not, like she had mentioned, she's hired by the older generation and so on. And I really just bring an outsider's fresh perspective and the ability to communicate and to dance with the emotions, but
Yeah.
to deal with the impact of the the challenges to learning, but the impact, the emotional impact of learning. There's an aspect to it as well. So
Exactly.
Mhm.
Oh, that's well thought. So after each team meeting, Rhonda and you and I get together and debrief. We also check back with them. What was their experience? We have built-in feedback. So
Mm,
what was their experience? So they can tell us, that was helpful. This went off track. Thought we'd accomplish more, whatever it is. And so we keep the channels open after each team meeting. It's not like we have the meeting and we just go away. We debrief from our view of what needed to happen, and maybe we didn't quite get there. How do we do that? How we can help the family reach their goals. We will have time at the end of each meeting. They're usually 2 hours long. That's long on, when you're in person, it's not long. When you're on Zoom, it's
mm.
debilitating. It's one of
Or
the issues we're going to talk about next month, about what's changed trying to do collaborative cases online. Works for relatively healthy families and couples. For high conflict, it just doesn't work.
so we have the post family meeting
Mhm.
to reflect, to fill in any blanks. Once I guess we have some idea of where we want to take it, then we could talk about solutions on the surface level, and you can bring us the solutions on the personal, emotional level. That would work too.
Yeah. Well, what didn't happen for them? I think what we will do for this, I don't know if it's going to work, but it's good practice for us to even go through this. So
Mhm.
I think that we would send I would send emails out with what worked for you in this meeting. You know, what didn't happen that you were hoping would happen. What do you see as particular challenges for you personally, for the family? What are your concerns? I would specify and then send that out after every meeting. And confidentially, the replies would come back to us. Those would be confidential. We would not put names with any of the feedback. And then before every full team meeting, when the whole family gets together, we will meet, by the way, after the first full team meeting, we've gotten to know everybody and had our individuals. You and Rhonda and I meet, we have the family meeting somewhere. Chances are if we're meeting somewhere in person, the family meeting itself might be 2 or 3 hours because we might have lunch and schmoozing and so forth in between. Or you and Rhonda and I might take a break out and meet. They can go somewhere for lunch, whatever we decide, or they decide. And at the end, we would debrief. So it would be close to a full day. If we're going to travel someplace, we're going to be there. We're going to debrief. And then out of that meeting will come, do we need to meet with specific subgroups?
Hmm.
Do we need to meet with individuals? Do we need to do more research and get information on a particular topic before it's productive to meet again? But there will be interim meetings depending on the needs of the family. And those meetings, if we say a family member would like some more coaching, would like to be brought up to speed, would like a deeper understanding, then we would decide, okay, does Rhonda need to be a part of that? Is that something the financials can handle? You don't need me on that one. Or is it more an emotional issue so that I might meet with them separately and then let you and Rhonda know, okay, here's what this person and I are working on. We don't need 2 people at that point. Because I'm working on coaching, how they listen, how they manage hearing information that's difficult, etc.
They have some folks flying in to be part of this. What if we had 2 days and 1 night at a place like Costanoa or Foothills Park? We meet we have the meeting the first day, and then some of us break off and we do our little after family meeting team. They go out and take walks or sail their kayak in the lake or whatever. And then the next day come back with some next steps. It could be a solution, a tentative couple of solutions, or could be, hey, we need some more expertise, or whatever, and are we headed in the right direction? Or, do we have a solution? Because you do kind of get burned out after 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it might be. I don't know if they're already going to be here and maybe.
Yeah, let's find out from it. By the way, it's Mark Nicholson and Kathy Huff are the names.
That's funny. I know Mark Nicholson already, and he's a mental health professional, or maybe it was Nichols, but anyway. And Kathy Huffs.
Nicholson.
Nicholson is what I wrote down, and then Kathy Huffs.
Hull, Hull, like the hull of a boat.
Hull, not Hill. Okay. Yeah, and I'll go back and look at my notes from all of that. And you and I could have shared Google Docs if we want, with all of our notes and everything, and a little index at the top. I don't know if you've ever, or table of contents. Google Docs can create and update the table of contents with the push of a button. It's pretty cool.
That sounds great. Yeah.
And have everything kind of in one place. As a thought.
Yeah,
Good,
pretty
okay.
much. I think that the super important part is how we handle the one-on-ones, and then how we bring the family together in a productive way that gives them enough time to develop this. It could be all day, but with a lot of breaks and breakouts and action items and things to discuss. Maybe even at first have them do it generationally, speak to where they are. What would that generation or that grouping that kind of thinks alike? And I'll bet you that's the case. They've shared a lot and they're saying these younger generational people don't know much of anything. They're just totally at sea with these wild ideas.
Mhm.
And the younger group is saying they don't listen, they don't include us in the decision making. They've not got a clue about what's possible.
So kind of like little breakout groups, and then somebody comes back and is the reporter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking of that too, and then I thought, would that engender more hardening of positions because they'd be talking to each other? But I don't think it matters if as long as you're talking and you're listening, then has a way of
I
sorting
think
stuff out.
my basic thing is go where they are.
Mm,
Don't try to get them where you want them to be.
mm.
Let them come in. They know all this. They just maybe haven't been explicit
Mm.
or out and very direct with it.
Kind of be
But
a mirror and cheerleader.
yeah, then it's our job to say, what would you need? What do you want the other group? And I don't know that we'd do it that way, but if it looked like that was falling out and we could see the conflict was conflict, that's where I would go with it. It's where they are. And make it more explicit and go deeper. Don't
Mm.
let them stay there. But what's important? What are their core values? What are they worried about? Whoops, 302. Okay. I think we can talk intelligently about what we're gonna do, some options. And that, we have worked together, but every case it's different. It's different people, it's different constellation. Every family is different.
We're not calling you snowflakes, though.
No.
We'll go to your next, and I'll go to my next, and
Right.
it's
Have
going to be
fun with Kurt this afternoon. That sounds great. Is that his name, Kurt?
Kurt. Hmm.
Have fun with Kurt.
I will. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
I feel better that we got to touch base so that we can speak intelligently to the process. Just how we do it, what happens next. Because if we were floundering and you were saying one thing and I was saying another, that wouldn't look very good. That was the main thing.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you were putting your awareness out there. My radar was at Esalen
Oh, for
because I put together my proposal for Esalen for a workshop there, and the way we were communicating and the other things going on. It's a lovely place, and it's a great place for transformation. It really is.
Yep. Sounds good to me. I want to hear more about it. Gotta go now, but
Hey, let's go.
see you later.
Bye.